I checked the smart speaker history at 2:19 a.m. It said good night to someone else. I'm not jealous of gadgets, I'm jealous of who they think belongs. At 2:19 a.m., when decent people outsource breathing to sleep and the rest of us try to bargain with the dark, I opened the app for our smart speaker because the apartment felt like a room that had just remembered an argument. The activity log is a little diary that never gets tired. Play, pause, volume, lights. At 2:01 a.m. it said, play bedroom playlist. 2 minutes later, turn off living room lights. At 2:07, set alarm for 4:45 a.m. and then stamped at 2:11 the line that knew it was writing the kind of truth nobody asks for. Good night, Jamie. It wasn't me saying it. It wasn't saying it to me. I watched the 4 lines again even though they didn't change, because disbelief is superstitious. I told myself there were explanations that didn't require humiliation. Maybe the speaker had misheard the television. Maybe our neighbor's voice had bled in. Old buildings are generous with privacy in exactly the wrong ways. Maybe the app was like a calendar that guesses more than it knows. I set the phone face down, which felt like hanging a towel over a mirror before you're ready to look. Jamie had texted at 11:48. Mix ran long, might sleep at the studio. He often does, collapsed on the couch under a jacket that pretends to be a blanket. I don't hate the studio. It has poor opinions about chairs, and the coffee tastes like someone told its secrets, but it has saved us from worse nights. I boiled water because water is the only thing in our place that believes in itself. I did not go into the bedroom, because the speaker lives on the dresser we both pretend is not a nightstand, and I didn't want to see its blue eye daring me to ask Faith for proofs. At 7:05, the kettle did what it always does. I poured 2 mugs and left the smart speaker app open on the kitchen counter, like a newspaper headline you can't make smaller. Jamie shuffled in, hair doing the one impression it's good at, regret, and reached for the mug like it could absolve time. The house filed a report, I said, turning the screen toward him. He looked at me, then back at the 4 lines as if they might confess to a typo. He said, which is his 3-second vowel for let me buy a little time from a store that doesn't exist. Luca crashed here on the way back from a session, he said. We listened through the fix. He hates sleeping on that studio couch. I told him to set an alarm. The speaker hears good night a lot. To me, I said, trying to keep my voice in the room and not on a stage. It hears it to me. I should have told you, he said, because those words are designed to be half credit. He drank coffee like he could rinse the log from his mouth. Can we talk later, after I'm less me? I'm not a detective. I edit sound for films that teach patience to people who think endings are earned. If you give me a lie, I don't know where to put the echo. I texted Matt, whose job in my life is to make panic think it has an appointment. Lunch, I wrote. My speaker's a witness. He replied immediately, as if sleep is optional for people who believe in grammar. 12:40. One question only. At the north side, linen napkins, chairs that don't squeak, the dignity of room temperature butter. Matt listened with his head tilted like a mechanic hunting a rattle. I slid him the 4 lines across the table as if they could be bills and he could pay them. What you know, he said, is a house set a sentence. What you want is to stay a person, not a bailiff. Ask why or who, not both. If you ask both, you let midnight write your minutes. At home, I wrote on the fridge under the rubber orange that keeps our rules pretending to be permanent. What happens out there passes through this table first. Jamie came in with his studio bag like a dog that knows the word bath, and put both palms flat on the table the way our therapist taught us, as if hands can't hide when they're working. Which question? He asked. Why did our bedroom say goodnight to someone who sleeps like a stranger in our logs? I said. Because the part wasn't coming, he said, looking at the wall where the paint imagines a better job. Because Luca thinks the floor in our place makes the low end honest. Because I am not great at thinking about mornings when the night is an animal asking to be named. We played the track, set an alarm, he crashed. I left before the speaker could learn any more tricks. He looked back at the app as if the lines might applaud. I should have said something. I didn't because telling you nothing happened would have still put the night in your mouth. Did you kiss him? I said, knowing I had broken Matt's law and hating that the law was smart. No, he said, and he said it like a man who knows the shape of his mouth when it lies. We added lines beneath the orange anyway. He wrote the first, his handwriting messy and neat at once. No house guests after midnight without a heads up. I wrote the second, block letters like I could convince the marker to be strict. If restlessness calls, we walk it together. He added one more, which is always his best trick. If one of us feels more broken than brave, we stop the scene. For 5 days, the speaker minded its own business. It said play, it said volume, it said lights like a well-trained pet. I turned in a cut without wanting to slam a door that wasn't mine. Jamie found a bridge without lighting the song on fire to see it better. We ate at hours that didn't confess. On the 6th night, Tuesday pretended to be helpful. At 12:41 a.m., the app showed a fresh entry. Add to bedroom playlist. What we almost said, acoustic. There are songs designed to be lies, and there are songs designed to be traps. I didn't press play. I moved the kitchen chair to the middle of the room, our therapist's ridiculous, effective advice, and sat there like a man who had decided to audition his body for calm. When Jamie came home, he saw the chair and smiled like he'd been caught by an arrangement he'd agreed to. "Move it with me," he said, and we did. One sentence per slide, left, right, center, repeat, until the room believed we were the kind of people who change angles before conclusions. I almost taught the speaker a worse word than good night, he said. I almost said I can't. I didn't because I would have sent it to you, and I don't want almost to be the adjective you attach to my face. We wrote one more rule even though the fridge was starting to look like a manifesto. If an I can't is going to exist, both of us sit in the room with it. It felt like a prayer someone might answer by accident. Of course, the world sent a test with a bow, an email with kind fonts and nicer promises. Residency, 7 days, quiet rooms, mountain windows. Jamie forwarded it with every attachment because transparency can look like bravery when you practice. I want to go without disappearing, he wrote. I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, please ask, what did you write before what did you do? I taped 2 short commandments beneath the orange. Addresses in the open. A good night here voice note every day. He sent audio that was whether pretending to be philosophy. Today the table forgave me. Today the page didn't, so I forgave it instead. Today I don't know anything and I am here. I sent back photos of the plant that refuses to die and the marker with its cap on, because restraint deserves an audience. Halfway through his week, the speaker app told me the lights went off at 12:10 a.m. and on again at 12:12 a.m., and I decided 2 minutes is either an accident or mercy. The little microphone icon appeared next to Jamie's name at 12:31 a.m., recording, and then vanished as if a thought had failed the audition and bowed anyway. I moved the chair again because ridiculous habits are what you have when you decide to be a slow-burning person. Jamie came back with a suitcase that didn't slam and a face that had learned its lines. He put 2 pages on the table and watched them like a parent at a nursery window, proud, terrified, unwilling to blink. "They're not good," he said. "They're mine," I said, and we called that revision because revision is mostly forgiveness with a schedule. The speaker hasn't learned my name exactly. It says okay and sure, and I didn't catch that. Some mornings I still open the log the way teenagers poke bruises. I scroll with caution, make friends with timestamps, remind myself that evidence without conversation is a hobby I can't afford. I am trying to stop outsourcing faith to devices that don't even believe in themselves when the power goes out. Last night I did the stupid brave thing brains are built for. I pressed and held the bathroom clip again. The room inhaled. The zipper performed. The faucet kept auditioning for River. I heard the laugh and it sounded smaller than the sentence I'd built from it. I heard it because I knew where to place it. Outside the frame, not outside the life. At 7:05 this morning, I filmed the coffee because ritual is cheaper than religion and works better on Tuesdays. I typed here under the video. Jamie slid his hand into the frame, palm on my palm without touching, a lid that doesn't pretend to seal. Here, he said. Then he went to the fridge and added a line without asking permission. If you record with me. If you say good night, say it where I can hear you. If another night hands me a log line I didn't ask for, a device trying to narrate a life I'm still writing, a room that laughs at the wrong time, a ceiling that admires itself, then I hope I do the handful of humiliating, useful things we earn the hard way. Put water on, move the chair, ask why before who, wait for the key in the lock like it's the first note in a song you still want to learn. Let the machines keep their nouns. The rest, bedroom playlists with bad manners, alarms set for bodies that don't belong, voice assistants convinced they know intimacy, can stay where they belong, background. If we're any good at this, we'll keep being the address. And on the nights we're not, the fridge will still have a rubber orange, the chair will still be ridiculous and effective, and the kettle will still proclaim 7:05 like a promise it means to keep.